Hey guys, welcome back to White Widow Sports. We got the sequel or prequel to depending on which video you decide to watch first. Anyway, we separated our WrestleMania predictions into two videos. This is either the first or the second, depending on how you wanted to watch. We're gonna assume that this is what turns out to be night two. Don't beat us up too much if we got it wrong. We're going on assumptions here. So night two, hypothetically, Brad, start us off.
Yeah, like Chris was saying, this is what we're guessing is night two, but just like WWE wants you to watch both nights of WrestleMania, we split this up, whether we're right or wrong, just to in hopes that you watch both videos.
Yeah.
So there it is. So just being transparent with you guys. But I
Mhm.
want to start off talking about the Women's World Championship. We've got a triple threat match. Io Sky is the reigning champion, defending against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. And in what might be a surprise pick, I've got Bianca Belair. I'll tell you why in a minute, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this match first.
So I originally saw EO as the third wheel, and maybe a lot of people still do. But I've gone all the way from that viewpoint to her actually retaining. Uh, I think they're kind of done pushing Rhea for a year or two. She's had a lot of spotlight, so she's good. I feel a little bit the same about Belair. I think they just stick with their champ and ride it into the new season, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think Rhea probably has the least percentage chance of winning this. If Bianca doesn't win it, I think Io does. But kind of like what you said, Rhea has held that belt for a long time. Recently, her matches against Liv Morgan and all of that was a big prominent feud in the women, and I think I could see her taking a little bit of a back seat and moving on to other scenarios. But uh, my caveat, the tiebreaker, so to speak, is Bianca Belair is undefeated at WrestleMania, and I
Whoa.
don't think that's something that they are going to change this year. I'm not even sure if it's something that's being publicized or really considered internally, but I think giving Bianca Belair a title reign going into, as we hinted, a feud against Jade Cargill, perhaps, because we've yet to really see how that's going to play out. Is it going to be a Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are on the same side and it was Naomi all along? Or was what I believe Bianca Belair is kind of the mastermind behind taking Jade Cargill out? And that all comes to fruition once Naomi is out of the way by a Jade Cargill beatdown on night one. Does she then set her sights on new world champion Bianca Belair, and that is our title feud coming out of WrestleMania, kind of as you said in our new season, so to speak, coming out of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I could see it. I can see it.
What's next?
We have Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic versus Finn Balor. Predicting this is actually happens, or predicting what actually happens, it seems like it's a little bit harder than what I just want to see. I'd like to see Braun retain or Finn to take it. Somehow, I think one of the others are probably going to win it. My only saving grace is that I think they'll throw Penta back in with into the Lucha Brothers and take him kind of out of the singles scene. So maybe he doesn't win. I see Braun losing and switching over to more of a world title push, probably the world heavyweight champion ship. So my prediction is for Dom or Finn to win, and then feud as former allies for a bit.
Yeah, so I also have Dominic Mysterio winning. He has had runs as North American champion, but if you view that as being a non-main roster, this would be his first singles championship on the main roster. I think he needs it. That dirty Dom. I think we've seen the Judgment Day split happening between him and Finn Balor, and I could even see this being a situation where maybe Finn Balor has the match won. He hits like a coup de grace on somebody, and then Dom, pushes him through the ropes and steals the pin. He lives up to that dirty Dom moniker and he takes the win and it ignites that feud, similarly what you were talking about. I do think Finn needs this win. I
Mhm.
just don't think that he gets it. Um, Penta, kind of like you said, he's very new. I don't think that they put him on, and I mean new to WWE, obviously not new
Yeah,
onto the wrestling scene,
yeah.
but I don't think he needs the title right now, not so quickly. Breaker, I could see being moved on to bigger and better things. I would love to see a program even a non-title program between him and Gunther, just kind of as that baddest man on the planet type scenario, and what happens when they go head to head trying to become number one contender for, whatever world championship they decide to go after. We're also used to seeing a draft happen somewhere not too long after WrestleMania, and I could see things getting shaken up there as well. So maybe Breaker does end up going on over to SmackDown and competing for other titles over there. But I do have Dominic Mysterio as this one.
Yeah.
Uh, got a string of singles matches, non-title here, and I think we've got some interesting ones to get into. One match that I really have not paid attention to the build-up though is Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I know this kick-started maybe at a Royal Rumble. One man eliminated the other, and then has continued since then. But who do you have taking this one?
Yeah, I guess we're just kind of on the same page because I'm not that interested in this. Drew deserves better than this, and I suspect he just gets the win. If there's a bigger story, I'm sorry I'm not too up to date on it at this time. And even if I was, give me the huge championship material bastard and take your goth loser back to the barn.
Yeah, Damian Priest, I think he had a surprisingly good run as heavyweight champion after cashing in Money in the Bank. I think he did a lot better with that than what a lot of people thought. And there's obviously some history there between him and Drew McIntyre. I think McIntyre gets his comeuppance, so to speak, from last year, where he won the world championship only to be defeated by Priest, cashing in Money in the Bank, a very short title run for him. I think that he gets his revenge and moves on to bigger and better things. But I also have DM Hunk winning this one.
All right. Next one I have is a sad one, especially close to your heart. We've got Randy Orton versus the slot, formerly known as Kevin Owens. For those that don't know, can you catch us up on Kevin Owens? I think most people do, but if you want to run through that real quick.
Yeah, obviously I had to represent for Kevin Owens. I've got the KO shirt on. I went ahead and recorded a podcast and multiple videos wearing hand wraps, which is a questionable decision, but I had to do it for my buddy Kevin Owens. He's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. I love everything about him, and very sad to hear he has been dealing with a neck injury. At first, when I heard the news, I thought it might culminate from that Royal Rumble ladder spot, because
Yeah.
that looked like it would break somebody's neck. Turns out it actually happened in a singles match after that, and
Mhm.
it's something that he's been dealing with for a while and wrestling with, but he's been losing feeling in different parts of his body, which is, if you've ever heard of any athlete dealing with that, or any person really with a neck injury, it's very scary, it's very serious, and he is going to be out indefinitely.
Yeah.
I've seen a timetable of 2 to 5 years, if ever. But neck injuries and stuff like that, different back surgeries, it's really one of those you don't know until you go through it, how that procedure goes. I mean, this is a very serious procedure, and obviously, I'm not wishing anything but the best of will towards Kevin Owens. I do hope that he is able to come back to the ring safely if he's able to do so. We've seen other wrestlers come back from it,
Mhm.
but a huge blow to the WrestleMania card. His match against Randy Orton was something I know that he was personally looking forward to, and I hate that he's going to miss it. But it does open up a hole on the WrestleMania card because Randy Orton is not going to go WrestleMania without having a match. So, do you have somebody stepping in to take Kevin Owens' spot and wrestling Randy Orton? Who is that person for you?
I've heard rumor, and that is Malachi Black or whatever he wants to be called, stepping into this role. I love that idea. I like both guys. They could both work a really good short notice match together, but mm, I would still take Orton to just win a quickly put together match.
Yeah, I also have Alistair Black in as that person, but I have him winning. I think that there's a lot of smoke around Solo Sokoa because he also doesn't have a match on the WrestleMania card, and he has been feuding with Orton anyway. It would be very easy for them to throw Solo in there and just basically feed him to Orton, let Orton get a WrestleMania win, and figure out the rest later on. But I could also see Solo Sokoa being one of the final men standing, if not the winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that happens on the SmackDown the night before WrestleMania starts. And I think that they could have a big shockwave moment, similar to the way Cody Rhodes returned to the company against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Have him come out as like the mystery opponent to face Randy Orton and actually have a surprising win, maybe even a quick win,
Mhm.
like a black mass or something to end it in a very short order. And then all of a sudden, boom, you've got a big star. Obviously, Triple H has always been high on him, whether he was Malachi Black or Aleister Black. This is somebody that could come in and be a big time star right away. He's familiar to the audience, and I think he would benefit from a big win. Whereas I don't think Randy Orton could really be hurt by that loss because you could chalk it up to he just didn't know who his opponent was going to be. He was caught unaware, similar to the way that he has caught a lot of his opponents unaware with an RKO out of nowhere. It's kind of his thing. So I think they could do a lot of interesting storytelling with that. But I have Aleister Black returning to the company in a victorious fashion. Next match, also non-title. I've got AJ Styles taking on Logan Paul on my list. Who do you have winning this one?
Well, I think AJ Styles deserves better, kind of like Drew McIntyre, but especially when he said himself he doesn't have many years left to go. He should be having high level matches for the final few years, like Triple H and Shawn Michaels got to do. No, I'm not saying he's as legendary as them, but he deserves a little bit better. All that said, Logan Paul is going to win, and he's going to piss off a lot of people. And AJ's probably cool with it because he's a great guy and he'll do whatever is asked of him.
Yeah, I think this match is really just chasing the next viral moment. I
Mhm.
think similarly to the way that Ricochet and Logan Paul had their like double coast to coast crossbody in the Royal Rumble a few years back. I do actually have AJ Styles winning this match purely because I think it's one of those things where Logan Paul, I'm not going to say the shine has worn off on him, but he can take losses and it's still not going to take away from what he is. AJ Styles is there a little bit more regularly. And I think that they need these strong contenders coming out of WrestleMania, especially as you shake up different title pictures and things of that nature. So I have AJ Styles winning, but I could really see it going either way for the reasons you mentioned.
Uh, I've got Liv Morgan and Raquel versus TBA, which you informed me right before this was going to be Bayley and Lyra. Um, I originally just kind of wrote in my notes, "Give me TBA," and now understanding who it is, I'll still take the challengers in this one. Um, they don't keep these women's tag titles on anyone very long at all. Um, they bounce them around. I think this is a good looking tag team that you have coming into challenge, and I see them being champions.
Yeah, so last night on SmackDown, they had a gauntlet match between women's tag teams. Piper Niven and Alba Fire is one of the teams, and just essentially the culmination of that match was Lyra and Bayley winning. I think they were a perfect 4-0 as a tag team since they had their matches for the women's Intercontinental Championship. But make it 4-1. I've got Liv Morgan and Raquel retaining and actually having a surprisingly strong reign as women's championship. And I think Lyra Valkyria will keep her focus on her Intercontinental Championship moving forward.
Okay.
Last match is a big one, undisputed WWE Championship match, and maybe more importantly than that belt itself, these guys are actually wrestling for the industry itself. A lot rides on the balance of here. Cody Rhodes and John Cena is a big time match that maybe a lot of people saw coming, but not in the way that it was given to us. Obviously, we got the biggest heel turn maybe of all time, or maybe since Hogan joined the NWO. Um, but I'm curious to know who you have winning this match and why.
Well, I don't think it matters what I want here because I'm 98% sure Cena's going to win this, go on a heel run for most of the rest of his career. And I say most because I think he'll turn face again near the end of his career and be that baby face everyone knew him to be. I think he'll put over someone really deserving in the process. I don't know who that might be right now, but that is how I see it ending. For the match itself, I expect some misdirections and some hope for Cody to be put out there. I probably even see Ric Flair interfering and trying to protect his 16 titles, but Cena's going to win, and I can't really see any other final result.
Well, I've got one for you because I've got Cody Rhodes winning and retaining. I do think that there could be some shenanigans in there, and I know this is a ballsy call. I
Yeah.
think that we talked about this at the Royal Rumble, right? John Cena was my pick to win the Royal Rumble. And I said he would win the Royal Rumble, but he wouldn't win the title at WrestleMania. This whole farewell tour, yes, we're going to see some of his familiar opponents like the CM Punks, like the Randy Ortons. I am absolutely gutted that he doesn't get to run it back with Kevin Owens. I hate that they don't get to have another match because Kevin Owens really started his main roster career as NXT champion, coming up to wrestle John Cena over the United States Championship during that era of Cena's career
Yeah.
with the open challenge and such. But I think that John Cena can do all of those things without the belt being involved. I still think that the story of John Cena's farewell tour is going to be him chasing history. And I think that the company is going to want him to win that 17th World Championship in a moment that can be celebrated and not hated. And
Uh,
so, whereas Cena would get some applause and some respect for winning the championship at WrestleMania over Cody Rhodes, I don't see them letting him win it as a heel. I think it's much more likely that Cena loses to Cody. Cody saves wrestling, saves the WWE. He becomes, that man who has the year-long reign. I don't think you can just have him lose to have him lose the belt after defeating Roman Reigns and being that person. They have really built Cody up as the face of the company. I think he needs to triumph here. And I think that Cena will win the title towards the end of this run and not really have a reign, but really win the title, possibly even on his last night in his last match ever, and then essentially retire as champion, like he said, but going out on his own terms and going out on top as champion. He will win 17. Everybody will love it at that moment. People would be very divided, if not hating it, if it happened at WrestleMania, purely because of the love of Cody Rhodes.
yeah. I suppose you'll have to get The Rock involved some way here. And sure, down the line, it's probably Cena realizing what he's done, screwing over The Rock, something like that. Don't know how The Rock is involved in this one itself, but a lot of long-term predictions got thrown into this one. But I do have Cena. But I do hear your point there. That's a pretty solid argument for the other side.
Yeah, I'm just glad that we have some of the higher profile matches where we actually differed on who was going to win. It certainly makes it interesting. I think if one person had picked the War Raiders to win and the other person picked new champions, and that was our only difference, it would make for some boring predictions. But
Yeah.
similar to the way we just came off of our bracket challenge, I'm sure we'll keep up with these predictions and maybe who wins that will have a prize at the end, or so to speak. We'll have to see. But I do want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching this. Hope you guys are interested in following WrestleMania along and seeing who wins. Drop your predictions, anything that you disagree with us on, any other thoughts that you had, or even drop the whole card. We'd love to have them down in the
Mhm.
comments below. Let us know who you've got or what shocking moments that maybe we should be expecting that we didn't touch on. I'd love to read those. So thank you, Chris, for doing this, and we'll see you guys next time.